It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming for Tuesday, September 23rd. I'm Wendy Kaur, bringing you headlines from the Cowboy State Daily Newsroom, brought to you by Wyoming Interventional and Vascular Associates. WEVA offers the best solution for treating tired, aching, and swollen legs at Wyoming's only IAC-accredited vein facility, with virtually no downtime and minimal risks. If you're ready for relief, see what WEVA can do for you. Schedule a consultation at caspermedicalimaging.net/WEVA. An Oregon pilot who hit a federal employee with his vehicle in Yellowstone National Park last year was sentenced to 2 years in prison and fined $10,000 on Monday. Cowboy State Daily's Jackson Walker reports that David Tyler Regnier was facing a maximum of 20 years in prison and up to $250,000 in fines. But his attorney argued that his conduct did not constitute aggravated assault.
Apparently, Regnier was on a lot of medication, including a new blood pressure medication that gave him some pretty adverse effects. He was saying that he experienced some high blood pressure, some tightness in his chest, and all of those factors combined made it a pretty stressful experience for him.
Regnier was convicted of a felony for going the wrong way on a park road to bypass waiting traffic before driving into a flagman working for a road crew who commanded him to stop and turn around. Bottlenecked traffic nearly 3 miles away from the State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, was not enough to stop a Wyoming state lawmaker from paying his respects to the late Charlie Kirk. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that Wyoming State Representative Scott Smith decided to walk the almost 3 miles on crutches in 100-plus degree temperatures.
He said he felt led, and there were all these obstacles, but he still felt like he needed to go. And once he was there, he said he felt this urgency to shun evil and pursue good as a nation. Smith is a Christian, and Kirk's death was a lightning rod moment, not for all, but for many Christians. I've found in interviews with people across Wyoming. And so Smith was inspired by the man's life and death and felt led to go and learn something from that.
Smith and his wife Teresa said they drove to Denver, then flew to Arizona early Saturday and set up for Kirk's funeral hours before sunrise on Sunday to get into the memorial. A lightning strike killed 2 elk hunters who went missing September 11th in southern Colorado and were found dead on Thursday. Outdoors reporter Mark Hines spoke with the coroner who investigated the incident that killed Andrew Porter of Asheville, North Carolina, and Ian Stasko of Salt Lake City, Utah. He said the 2 25-year-olds were found fully clothed and didn't show any outward signs of trauma.
He said usually with lightning strikes, it's obvious. You have entry and or exit points where the bolt or the electricity went through the body. That wasn't the case with these 2 young men. He surmised probably what happened is a bolt struck a tree that they were standing next to, traveled down through the tree and went into the ground. And then ground conductivity is what gave them a fatal jolt.
Meteorologist Don Day pointed out that lightning should be taken seriously by anyone who recreates in the outdoors. He says lightning does not follow many rules, and everyone should have deep respect for its dangers and its unpredictability. The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating a ruptured natural gas pipeline that exploded into dramatic flames on Sunday, stopping a Union Pacific Railroad train carrying hazardous materials in its tracks west of Cheyenne. Cowboy State Daily's Justin George reports that while no one was harmed in the explosion that could be seen from up to 60 miles away, the surrounding terrain experienced significant damage.
Firefighters have said that there was no hazardous materials that have spilled out. There wasn't any sort of major mishap that could have happened, clearly. So I think that this was something, a catastrophe possibly averted. We're still trying to find out more details. It's very difficult to say what caused the rupture, and we don't know the damage to the train, but we do know that the railroad repaired the tracks and service has resumed on those tracks.
Aerial images showed cars on the train heavily damaged or charred. The ruptured pipeline is owned by Kinder Morgan, an energy infrastructure company. I'll be back with more news right after this.
You never know what's going to happen. Without insurance, we could lose everything that we have.
First State Insurance is here to help protect you and your livelihood.
We protect the most important things in your life.
What I appreciate about First State Insurance is for someone to have my back when we have a claim.
First State Insurance looks forward to growing in our surrounding communities.
Hundreds of people in cowboy hats spent hundreds of thousands of dollars during the 44th annual Buffalo Bill Art Show and Sale in Cody this past weekend. Cowboy State Daily's Andrew Rossi reports that there were plenty of intense bidding wars, high-priced pieces, and surprises.
93 of the 103 pieces that were in the show sold during the live auction. And then the next morning, the excitement was palpable. It's well over $1 million that'll be distributed between the Buffalo Bill Center of the West Dakota Country Chamber of Commerce and the artists themselves.
Between Friday night's live auction and Saturday morning's quick draw auction, the Buffalo Bill Art Show and Sale brought in more than $1.102 million. The amount will get even higher once additional sales from the two silent auctions and other sales are tallied into the total. Wyoming is still the flagship for a water-efficient data center under development in Evanston, even though the company building it has recently inked a deal to build more of its innovative data centers near Dallas, Texas. Cowboy State Daily's Renee Jean reports that founder Trenton Thornock wants to bring opportunities and jobs back to his home state.
Prometheus Hyperscale was founded by a sixth-generation Wyomingite, Trenton Thornock. Trenton, has grown up in the Evanston area. He had a pretty high-caliber career in the financial sector. He put together large projects. So I guess when he retired, he was looking for something to do, and he wanted to bring jobs to Wyoming, opportunities to Wyoming.
As a sixth-generation Wyomingite, Thornock said his focus is still on Uinta County and interest in the Evanston data center has been spiking. He's already had 2 prospective tenants asking for letters of intent. Wyoming officials are contemplating talks with Tesla about a potential self-driving vehicle pilot program within the state's government fleet. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that officials are also talking about making laws around liability and function pertaining to autonomous vehicles.
It's very embryonic at this point. The governor's liaison to the blockchain committee was like, look, we're starting some very early talks with Tesla about even if they want to do a pilot program here in Wyoming, it could lend some efficiencies to the government fleet. But we also have failed in the last 4 years to pass legislation around liability and definitions. So that's something that they want to lock in to as they have these talks.
David Pope, one of Governor Mark Gordon's liaisons to the Select Committee on Blockchain, Financial Technology, and Digital Innovation, delivered a presentation Monday about what he called the need for state laws around autonomous vehicles. And Pete Simpson Jr. learned early that sometimes the most powerful thing someone can do on stage is say nothing. Cowboy State Daily's David Madison reports that Simpson is celebrating a 29-year run as Blue Man No. 9, the most prolific performer in Blue Man Group history.
Pete graduated sometime in the late 80s, went on to Denver for graduate school, and then heard about this new phenomenon happening in experimental theater called the Blue Man Group. And now Pete is talking about his experience. He spent 29 years with Blue Man Group, really a dream job as he described it. And now he's venturing on to even more experimental theater.
Simpson tells Cowboy State Daily that he will still stay in the theater world, but not performing. He'll still be teaching at NYU and Harvard. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by clicking on the daily newsletter button at cowboystatedaily.com. And you can watch this newscast every day by clicking subscribe on our YouTube channel, or you can listen to us on your favorite podcast app. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily.